good day and welcome to the Boom Bar on your award-winning Boom Radio NG. Sorry, maybe I said that too fast. I need to slow it down. On your award-winning Boom Radio, multiple award-winning Boom Radio NG. I sound like someone that's been waiting to say that for like 3 years, man.
Oh God.
Maybe I do.
Yeah, maybe it's not a bad idea, you know. But, it really isn't a bad idea.
Award-winning Boom Radio. Okay. Shola Rogers in the building.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is the Boom Bar right here. I am Boom Radio NG, like SRI said, award-winning Boom Radio NG. Yeah, yeah. It is a very lovely first day of the month today. Bid you a warm welcome again to the bar. If you're just joining us for the very first time, welcome. This is where we give you everything from politics, entertainment, sports, music, live, basically everything around and the world and everything else in between. And everything else in between can be anything. That's the thing. It can be anything, depending on how where the conversation goes and how it goes. So sit back, relax, enjoy today. There's going to be a lot of sports. I'm sure that SR has a lot of football transfers for us, as we know that today is officially the Premier League football transfer window is closing today, so there's a lot of last minute deals. This particular transfer window has been very interesting. Yeah, there's been a lot of deals even right before the window started, and a lot of people started theirs early. A lot of people did a whole team change, and then some some didn't do as much as you expected, but it's still till the midnight, so anything is still possible. But the ones that we know about right now, we'll definitely be talking about that. Also, there's a lot of there's a very I don't want to say sad, but it's kind of actually sad though. The domestic violence agency in Lagos State is very interesting. How there's a lot of data coming out from there that we're going to look into. Sad, very very sad. I'm still talking about that. There's news that I saw earlier that a police inspector has also been detained for something in that regard. Very, I don't know if to say kudos to the police or it's very sad because something like, it's mixed feelings at the moment. There's news that broke this morning that a particular speaker of a House of Assembly is that's the number 3 man in a particular state, has been invited / I don't know the English. I want to be on the side, but invited is when they invite you.
Invited / arrested / intoxicated
bundled
/ carried / removed.
Anyway, any which way,
prevented from traveling.
Do you understand? Any which way, the Speaker of House of Assembly is the FCC has arrested them. Also, we're going to be looking at a bit of drama that is happening. That, according to a lot of people now, it seems like it's said that it's every end of the month that this drama happens, and this is drama between the federal government most of the time, and most of the time is the federal government and Governor Ortom of Benue State. So he definitely has something to say. Also, if time permits us, we might be able to talk a little bit about Governor Wike and a bit of things that is happening with the PDP, the drama with the chairman, and it's a few things, what some people think, what some people not think, in fact, if we have time, go back to as far back as what the presidential candidate of the PDP had to say about this particular issue, actually. Also, We're going to be talking a little bit. There's not been a lot of news yet, but today is officially the day that Lagos State has banned. They're effecting the ban on more local governments on the
use of
commercial motorcycles.
Yeah.
In those places. So there has not been. I've been expecting like a lot of news coming from there. What's happening, but I'm sure that maybe later in the day, but tomorrow or even if before we leave, but there's still talks about it. They're talking about Lagos State has come out to say that it might be jail term if anybody is caught is driving or even a passenger on those in those places in the first place. So yes, we're going to be talking about that. Also, there's a bit of drama that goes back and forth with the Emirates airline and Nigeria. There's announcement now. Looks like they're reinstating some of this the flight operations that they said they were going to stop today, which has already stopped anyway, but it's coming back in a few days' time. But then I was going to use that to talk about, if time still permits us, I don't know if you saw a video of Nigerians being detained at the airport.
Yeah, I saw the video last
UAE,
night.
And all that. I think that it's
I
time.
actually couldn't watch it. That was probably too emotional. Like, why is this even
happening? Yeah, I think that we really need to talk more about it, and it is really about the evil that some people had done. That's why some other people are in the mess they are in now. So this and things and whatever else pops up, we would talk about it now till the 4 o'clock hour right here on your Boom Radio NG. So sit back, relax, and then let's just go right into it. And I didn't even know that it was Esra that was telling me before we came in that is the awareness month for domestic violence. And it's very interesting that there's a bit of data coming out that at some point, I think I should start from that. At some point, 1 in 3 women experience sexual assault or domestic violence. 1 in 6 men experience sexual abuse before the age of 18. And about 65% of victims who have come forward have said that nobody has ever helped them. And according to Lagos State, in the past 10 months, they've had about 4,000. Those are even the people that that talk about it, or somebody has come to report, or that is out there. That that's about 4,800 cases of domestic and sexual violence that has been reported.
Yes, this is a big problem. The 4,800 cases covers a period of 1 year.
10 months.
Yeah, that's why I said the year ended, from September last year to June, So this is alarming, but it's also strange that it's only subject to the information that was reported.
Yeah.
I have always been from the school of thought that not everybody reports these cases of sexual assault, gender-based violence. Not everybody reports this thing.
Most people don't.
So, but even at that, there are 4,800 cases in Lagos State alone. If you take a look at the population and do some kind of scientific calculations and evaluations, and you can multiply not exactly 4,008, but maybe half of that times 36 or 37, it will give you a clearer picture of what might be going on across Nigeria.
Yeah.
That's a lot. The statistics, of course, that we also reeled out are on a global scale.
Yeah.
That's the global level where you're talking about 1 in 6 men having experienced this
sexual
abuse before the age of 18.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about 18 as being adults, but before you reach the age of consent, 1 in 6 men. But the truth is, men don't talk about it.
Most men don't.
They don't talk about it, They will continue to make things look like
Everything is
everything
normal.
is fine.
You know what what you just said now? It's interesting how I've heard a lot of guys talk about it, how they have been abused as children by some aunt or some house help somewhere or something, but they don't seem to feel that it's wrong. They don't think it's wrong, that it was a wrong act in the first place.
Yeah, then they grow up and start to feel that, okay, it's part of being a man. It's part of a gender thing. Like, guys don't get sexually assaulted, I'm sorry, this is crazy, but I'm going to have to step out to attend to some kind of emergency now. I'll be back in a few. But Oluomo will hold forth and we'll still read out these numbers and stuff.
Oh yeah. So basically, it's very interesting that these things happen. I feel that number one, boys or people need to talk about it more. But where we should start from, for me, in the first place, is schools. When it starts from how people need to what's the word now? From primary school, people need to be aware. Children need to be aware what is gender-based violence, what is domestic abuse, what is sexual abuse. Those are things that things need to be taught, so that if these things happen, these children are aware. They know that, okay, what this person is doing is wrong, regardless of if you're a boy or a girl. Regardless of if this person is your family member or this person, or even if you, let me put it like this, there are times that I've spoken to a few people and they feel that since as boys, since they enjoyed it, maybe they were the onset of puberty and it was fine because you had already talked about it. So it's very, very, very interesting at that point. But the sad part is that even as young boys, and even though they seemed to have enjoyed it, it still does not make it right. There's the issue of what we call statutory rape. Statutory rape has nothing to do with who the person is or what. As long as it is a minor involved, it is not. How's the word now? It is at least the little that I know, that it has nothing to do with whether the child, as long as there's a child involved, it is statutory rape. So it's time that even things like in school curriculum, these children, little children, need to know that, okay, what this person is doing to me is wrong. Then I need to report these things. And it is in those places, and then also at home, parents need to be able to create an enabling environment where children can speak to them, where we notice that, okay, maybe some things are happening, and then they'll be able to talk to them. Then and only then can we say that, okay, if this thing ever happens, we hope a lot of those things never happen, but the honest truth is that they actually do once in a blue moon. These days, not once in a blue moon anymore, but hopefully we get to a point where these things never happen. But as it does, we're hoping that these things are actually brought to the fore and people speak about it.
Right, Oluomo, sorry for leaving you.
Oh, it's fine.
But we know show must go on, and we also like to apologize for the brief interruption, as we are at the moment talking about domestic and sexual violence, and especially based on the statistics reeled out by the Attorney General of Lagos, speaking at an event. This month is the month of awareness for this issue, and we know it's happening everywhere. And coincidentally, I've never addressed him as barrister. He's my brother, he's my friend, and he happens to be a lawyer. I've somewhere found out.
Wow.
I think you're a lawyer. I find lawyer also. Maybe we'll talk after the show. But Muyiwa Ayojimi is definitely the right kind of person to waltz in at a time like this.
Yeah.
I feel this is divine, and that we might basically be benefiting from your presence. He is the CEO of Consumetrics, and Consumetrics is a company that you're going to hear a lot of on Boom Radio, because we're going to be partnering on several programs, and hopefully any moment from maybe tomorrow or next we'll be doing a few exposés on some of the things that they're going to be doing. There's an event that we'll be telling you about, but at the moment we're talking DSVA, that's the Lagos State Agency, and all the things, but it's actually a global thing. This is the month for that awareness.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Why I think is Lagos, because Lagos has like an agency for it now. A lot of other states do not, but also I know that a lot of states are beginning to get better at it. A lot of states now have sexual offenders lists and all those things, which those things need to be published. These people are animals.
Exactly.
Those things need to be put out there.
Again, it's not just to have a sexual offenders list. There are things that we need to start looking at. How practicable are some of these things that we talk about? Like in brass tacks, how does it affect the man on the street or the woman, or the girl or the boy? Because again, you find that it's not like we don't have laws. I know I'm of the belief that a lot of our laws are outdated, they need to be upgraded. But it's the enforcement at times or the interpretation of the laws that brings the confusion. So the sexual offenders list is a fantastic step. I think there was someone who there was a first lady or a governor that was even talking about a billboard.
I know that a few times I'd seen that. I think in Ekiti State they actually put it on billboards.
Yes, that this people
this particular person is
they are convicted. It's not like they are alleged to have committed a crime; they are actually convicted. So I don't know, Muyiwa, you definitely need to weigh in on this.
Okay, thanks for having me. I think pretty much of a coincidence.
Yes.
Again, it is important to keep sensitizing our environment, to keep bringing it into the consciousness of everyone. I heard Dolupo say a while ago that can it not be part of the curriculum? Can it not be? So I was at a bookstore just a few days ago, and I wanted to buy a book. I was at a loss as to what to buy for a friend who was celebrating his birthday. And I was around Island, one of those popular bookstores. And I got in there and I was in the pool of books, right? I got the book I wanted actually. And then I just saw this book, well packaged. And it says, How to Raise a Gentleman. I didn't think twice. I've got 2 boys. I picked it. Because I was like, okay. And then
someone actually went there.
Yeah, someone actually
someone wrote it down.
Exactly.
Sorry, I'm going to interject because you see a lot of people write things like there's no manual on parenting. Stop that. It's you that is not. See, he found how to raise a gentleman.
I could get it for you in the car when I get out now.
Thank you.
You see it.
I hope you get it back.
So I saw it, and it's about 12 or so chapters, and within few days I'm already on chapter 10. I'm yet to finish now.
So it's like they say, unputdownable. You cannot put it down.
Exactly. So, and in it, I found out that the same author has how to raise a lady, how to raise different topics. And I was surprised that, hey,
how come nobody's talking about this? You didn't see this book earlier?
Didn't, So primarily, I think we are in a society that is fast changing. A whole lot of things are happening. You know, when someone says, "Oh, this wasn't happening before during our time,"
Yeah.
but guess what? It was actually
It
happening.
was just not being reported.
It was actually happening.
But the question is, before you go on, was it that, I'm not saying it wasn't happening, but is it not that it got worse?
I don't think it got
I just think the reportage is now in our faces.
So it was always like this?
It was probably even worse then than now.
Yeah. You know why?
Okay.
We never had phones to record anyone. We never had social media.
Then we were our
You know.
orientation.
Yeah.
You don't tell people what you're going through.
Yes.
You don't even report.
You dare not say what ever happened to you, done to you by
Yeah.
an adult to start with.
Do you guys ever, or do you recollect this happening to you or around you, where an adult is maybe beating you with a stick or God knows what, and beats you not to cry?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're inflicting pain on the child, and you're saying, if you cry, I will beat you more. Let's not get it twisted. We claim it was discipline, but I think it was a little bit overboard on the part of some of our parents.
That's
or
not how you
our
don't beat
peers.
someone and the person won't cry.
That's exactly the problem. So it was not as if it was not being reported. Everybody had been engineered in a way that, oh, you don't talk about it, you don't report it. Some people will go to school with a black eye or go to work with a black eye, and they say, what happened to you? They say, I fell.
Yeah.
They're always falling.
What a way
I
to
fell.
go.
Always falling.
And
Yeah,
it was
always
just that your eye part.
the same
know?
house that you are living in, you suddenly just...
You fell last week, fell
Yeah.
2 months ago.
So,
You know?
I mean, that first things first, it's been happening. Thank God for space now. But very importantly is two things. I think it's important for the sensitization to go on, and for a radio station like yours, I think it's very, very apt that you are bringing it to the fore and having it, you know, discussed is part of sensitization.
Yeah.
For me, every blessed day, these are things that you watch out for. I give you an example. I will not leave an artisan in my house
When there are
doing
children
work
there.
when there are children there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the last one that had happened was one of the artisans that I left, a certain electrician. You know, I've got CCTV in my house. So I will rarely not look at
The
the
footage.
footage until maybe like weeks. You know, I
Just
don't have
do
the
a
daily
review.
time.
Yeah.
So, of course, Saturday morning, I looked at it, and I actually saw this electrician guy going up the stairs. My nanny was coming down the stairs, and he was pinning her down
To the wall.
to the wall, the stairways. And that one was still there. Of course, that one didn't really
Fight
bust
him
out
off.
or fight him off until after some few seconds,
Wow.
you know.
Must
And I
have been
was,
shocked at some point, like,
exactly,
okay, what's going on here?
you know. So, as a general rule, as a way of sensitizing, I would not even with an adult, I won't leave an artisan with my wife, for example,
Yeah.
or with any female in the house.
Yeah.
You can never tell because there's a psychological part.
I get worried. I'm
You
not
know
gonna
the
lie.
funny thing? I remember this thing that he said. Now that you said it, it kind of occurred to me that it might not be that they were dating, because I remember, I think I was in secondary school when there was someone that was brought in, was painter, was supposed to paint our house, and yeah, we had a housekeeper then. She was way older, so I think she was done with secondary school. Then my mom was trying to get her into university, because it was kind of a rule. You can't just be at home doing absolutely nothing, yeah. And she was literally in the process of, I think she had even gotten admission, was waiting for resumption, and then found out that she was pregnant. And then, okay, long story short, the painter got her pregnant. Then you now clicked and my mom was like, okay, what you were going to paint was supposed to take 2-3 days. This your painting took like over a week. He just never finished.
He was painting.
He just never finished.
It was a massive wall, and he was painting it.
But you know that now that he actually said it, I'm not sure that ever occurred to me that maybe he might actually not have been consensual.
Yeah.
It has never occurred to me that is very possible.
I don't have the statistics, but I every part of me, because it was not as if he knew she was there before he got the job in the first place.
Yeah.
And he came there under the guys. Yeah. You get, it might not have been, because
for me.
So this is a tip now for people who are watching and listening. Do not leave women or children with people that you do not know or trust.
Yeah. I mean, it's just...
This is us for men. We're gender sensitive here. So we're not trying to say that women cannot give these tips too. But this is specific to men. Mm-hmm. Be the one that's looking out for your family.
Absolutely.
And your friends.
It's a first aid. So there are first aid steps to all of this.
Yeah.
Beyond it happening, there must have been an appearance, the semblance of a situation that is either permitted or permissible. So when that happens, then it cultivates an environment that can make that happen.
True.
Okay. Sorry, sir, please 1 second. We have a comment from Ladipo Adepoju. He says that ignorance is worse than a disease, really. The home front is central to raising good children. And it says information is key to life. Thank you very, very much for those comments.
Thank you very much.
Very, very important.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that comment. And these are the things that makes life better for people. When we have yourself, myself, ourselves, someone like Ladipo now, bringing out things that people can learn from. At times, really and truly, people are clueless. Even you as a parent, you're not going to lie. You're not,
can't know
as
everything.
an adult, you're not going to lie.
Sorry, please. He also says something.
Okay.
He just dropped another comment now, and he says, whenever and wherever you have people and different personalities, there would always be the tendency for things like that to happen.
Yes.
But that's where it's supposed to end. You must teach and educate people what it means to be civil. Sure. That's also
Which
very
goes back to you talking about the curriculum.
Yes.
And you talking about the book you found,
Yeah.
Raising a Gentleman.
And like you said, it makes a lot of sense. A lot of things that happened growing up that we never attached importance to, even from the idea of catcalling to those little things that, looking back, you felt really uncomfortable about it, but you felt it was just normal. It's actually not normal.
Yeah.
I something crossed my mind before you talk. The book you found, it says How to Raise a Gentleman.
Yeah.
Then there's one, How to Raise a Lady. And while you were saying that, my mind just went to something. Women, young adults, women get sent to finishing school at times. Which school or how many times have boys been sent to something similar? I might not be as informed as I thought I was, but have you heard about it?
So, I think all of these things came closer home. I think it was earlier in the year when some famous school had some sports competition outside of the country.
Oh yeah.
And it was nearer home for us as a family.
Wow.
Because we got to know one or two things, and that was when we came across some book parenting and more like a finishing school for boys and all of that, and I had to enroll.
Please talk about the school. Where is it?
One of my boys is actually online.
Oh wow.
He's a boys coach. Can't remember the name now. I think
is it Praise?
No,
okay.
not. I mean, he does quite a lot of that as
Yeah.
well. The Tower Kalami and
Yeah.
all. I think He calls him Kochebuka.
Okay.
You know, and I listen in when he has his
Sessions with the children.
Yeah, and quite a whole lot of things about confidence building, about how not to, how to say no politely. A lot of it's packed. It's always every weekend. You know, and again, you know, when we got to know about those finishing schools, you may not even be able to pay, right?
Yeah.
True.
But right now, there's a whole lot of
Opportunities,
Materials.
Yes,
material
that
out
you
there.
can put together. You know, at some point, I think that the gentleman had wanted to have puzzles, you know, to get boys to, you know, words to quite engaging, you know, and I think it's important for parents to be deliberate.
Yeah.
Otherwise, hey,
Yeah.
you know,
I like the focus that we have now. If you're just joining us, of course, it's still the Boom Bar on your Boom Radio NG, and we are actually looking at solutions because, again, everybody goes, why did a lady dress a certain way? Now we're talking about domestic. So these are people inside their houses,
Inside, around
like
you.
like the maid that you had and
Yeah.
other people that they were in their own in the
Yeah.
comfort of their
own
homes.
comfort when someone
You
else
get?
decided
So
to.
it's not always about the victim. We do a lot of victim blaming.
Yeah.
But if we can actually train the perpetrators, we will reduce the number of people committing these crimes because these are crimes.
So I'll give you a further example from one of our estate rules. So if you're going into the estate, you're read out just the way a policeman will arrest someone and say you have a right to remain silent.
Your Miranda rights.
Exactly. So you have that read as well to anybody coming in.
Wow.
So even if the first time you came to drop a coat, you were looking at that nanny or you were looking at that girl,
It's right.
it's
at the
right
back of
behind
your-
you at the back of
your
head
mind
that,
that
well, maybe
This guy-
maybe it's not here.
This
I'll
guy
do
estate.
it. I'll take it elsewhere.
Yeah.
You know, so I think over and above, it would have a larger percentage of mitigating effects.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like you said, this happened, I think, a few weeks ago, and then I had to catch myself. Like, okay, it's not that bad, and this is literally someone was just being, what's the word now, chivalrous, and then it's almost weird now. We're at a point that it's almost weird for someone to be a gentleman. Like we're at that point now. Like it's almost like anybody wants to, you feel like, okay, the person is trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. This discussion is not over. We will, as we do here on Boom Radio, we will sit down and look for a way to help with a campaign towards creating more awareness about this. I have a feeling that it will be a path. It will be a part of what we do here, just like we did with the COVID and other things. But it's something that we'll discuss.
Yeah, and before we quickly leave all that, all the way in Port Harcourt now is Salihu Kazim, an inspector with the Rivers Command of the Nigeria Police, has now been accused by a 17-year-old girl of taking her nude pictures and raping her. The Rivers Commissioner of Police has now said that this person has now been detained because the allegations has to do with a teenager, and that there is investigation ongoing at the moment.
So there are still issues for me. There are a lot of matters, similar matters in court, that convictions have not been
Very
able
difficult, yeah.
to get. That's because there's a thin line between when an allegation happens and how in fact you can prove it in court. Leave the sensations, leave the, all of that. So for someone who just brings out the picture and says, oh, he did this, he did that, we may not have the kind of forensics, the kind of investigative prowess that trailed the likes of that of Bill Cosby and all
Yeah.
the likes, that can date back to years.
Yes, yeah.
So for us, we still have a nascent criminal investigation system around this kind of things, and that for me is a worry. And I think for the famous artist, Yoruba artist recently that
that was
the only thing that helped the
case.
evidence
was because there was some video.
Footages.
Yeah.
That's it. Otherwise,
It will
if you don't have, there are a lot of it every now and then. At times I sit in courts, you get to listen to this, and the judge can't do anything.
It's just your word against theirs at the end of the
Absolutely.
day.
That yes, I was there. Yes, but hey, I didn't do that. I didn't. But again, so I want to believe, and this has been my own ask. Listening into some of these hearings in court, there's a whole lot of work to do for the case, because there are other empirical ways of still prosecuting matters of this nature, even when you do not have those kind of evidence that are apparent.
Yeah.
There must be a special team. It's not a regular, just the way you set up the SCID, you set up
RVT,
you
all of them.
must set up. And this time around, how I know it works, in the LAPDs of this world and all of that.
Yeah.
is
Special
that-
offenses.
Yes. Guess what? They have more of female police officers
In those places.
investigating serial male,
Yeah.
and then male investigating vice versa. So very unbiased. And then look, what are the things that I know will be the ingredients before this happens? And then they know it. They check out for it. They put them on line detectors. They get them into. So a whole lot needs to be done in that space. If indeed we must have those. And speaking to, a dashboard, a screen, offenders list, and all of that is good. But again, there is a psychology behind offenders. There's a psychology behind crime. There's a psychology of conviction. There's a psychology of reintegration into society.
Okay.
There's a psychology, there's a whole lot.
I get what you're saying.
So
now.
for how long, I'm not holding brief, right?
No, at least it's just putting perspective to it.
Absolutely. So can we say, for example, like this sensational person, he comes out. Is there some kind of integration, some kind of thing that makes it okay for him not to now fall into depression and we lose them?
Isn't that what the correctional centers are supposed to do?
Supposedly. But the correctional centers these days,
It's very interesting.
They more or less even breed more
of these things. Before we leave that, the story of this particular police officer added to the fact that reason why he was arrested. The police commissioner says that he had an interview with journalists that where he had accused the girls of stealing 500,000 naira from him.
oh,
So he knew the girls.
Okay.
This was the girl that accused him, and there was another girl. But also, the girl had accused that this officer had literally seized her phone after he had accused them of stealing. After going through his things, and they found her phone with him. So there's definitely something.
There's a connection.
There's definitely something there, and it's what makes it worse is that this is even a police officer.
yeah.
Like,
So they will try him for something else, but not really.
Yeah.
I can assure you.
So,
He
so
can fly for something else.
as we move on, if you are in Lagos, or you know anybody in Lagos that has been a victim, or if you have been a victim, and you're looking for some sort of professional help, take a biro or get your phone and call this number. It's toll free, So you don't worry about your credit, not having enough credit to talk. It's 080 00 33 3333. I'll take it again slowly. 080 00 33 33 33. Call these numbers and there will be someone to talk to you or your friend or your relative, or if you notice any form, maybe your neighbor is fond of turning his family into punching bags, because we're talking about domestic. And every time you hear domestic, it's not just husband to wife, it's wife to husband, it's husband to children, even to house help, or what. It is just basically what it is: domestic violence and sexual violence and sexual harassment. So I think that's that.
Yeah, that's
There's
that.
a whole lot. We'll probably just be breezing through.
Oh yeah, at this point.
So maybe to lay out on that.
Yes,
please. So we have domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call office violence?
Official violence.
Official violence. corporate violence.
Because I know some bosses.
Oh yeah.
Who would give. I mean, it's normal. Serial slaps. You go on errand, or you turn in a bad work or seemingly incomplete work.
A few months ago, on Twitter, it was trending for.
Oh yeah, horrible bosses. Yeah, where
if you go and look for hashtag horrible bosses, you would look at stories and you don't want to believe them. You really don't want to believe that. Are you sure this person that we know?
Yeah.
In fact, some of those horrible bosses had to come on Twitter to apologize.
You see?
Because they were being called out. Some people actually tagged the horrible bosses. Some would insinuate and point at the person, and people would say, oh, is this company? Oh, this happened that time. And I tell you, it was massive.
That's it.
It was.
So, I mean, violence
everywhere.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's it.
Thank you for that.
Still talking about Lagos State. We know that today is officially the beginning of the phase 2 ban of commercial motorcycles, popularly known as the okadas. Very few local governments, Koshofe local government area, the Mushin local government area, Oshodi local government, and Shomolu local government area. And we've not heard a lot of news of what's happening there yet. But according to Lagos State government, they're saying that people could go to jail for as much as 3 years if you are caught riding these okadas or even being a passenger.
You're not saying anything.
Oh yeah. So, I mean, it's one other thing that I find for a place like Lagos is that those of us that listen to boom radio, to radio generally, to certain frequency, is that we're doing that on data, or we're doing it in our car. We rarely do that at home these days.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I am flashing the point around sensitization. The people you want to announce to. Yes, you're announcing to a portion that use the bikes as a means of transportation. How about the guys themselves?
The operators.
I would assume that perhaps the association, and fair is fair. I think they give them a long time.
Yeah.
And I realized that they also encourage them to learn trades.
Exactly.
They also opened up certain things for them to be able to.
They were offered other ways to.
And on top of that, they were also able to say, look, there are alternative rights that you can use and all of that. So it's what it is. In terms of you go to jail for 3 years, I've not seen that translated in any
Yeah.
Documentation, but maybe it can be foisted in terms
Well,
of
but
whatever.
if it's not already existing, they're probably it's probably in the works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I know that at times government would be a little bit sensational just to put people in check.
Yeah.
But if it's already part of an existing law or an edict, then they might want to make one or two people as scapegoats.
Well, it's very interesting because the only thing I'm looking forward to is how they want to eliminate bikes in places like Mushin, Bariga, Shomolu, Oshodi.
Yeah.
I think that, okay, all these places like Koshofe, Kosi, I'm sure Sherry, those places are not. But I really would I'm waiting for stories that
By the end of today.
By the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's not going to be an easy fit.
But yeah, I agree with you. It's not going to be an easy fit, but I think it's achievable.
It is.
Yeah.
So two things that I noticed this morning: the police did a mini show of force by putting out some pictures of their men getting ready for showdown, more or less. So they were getting ready for what might transpire between them and the operators. And yesterday there was a protest, not necessarily a protest, but there was a delegation of bike riders who actually went to the seat of power in Lagos.
Because there's a lot of them.
Trying to get the government
to
consider this ban. But I'm sorry, we're at the point where we don't have to sit on the fence all the time. There's three of us here, so I'm allowed to speak my mind now so that you guys can counter me, hopefully. I am totally for this ban for two reasons: security and health. If you've ever been to the Igbobi hospital, they created a department for bike specific accidents. That's one. And two, security, knowing how, of course, we've been victims to bike men trying to jack us and everything, or trying to steal from us. And again, the situation in the country that has had many people now come from one part to this part. And there are also stories of how they are remitting funds, they are repatriating funds to their sponsors. And you must wonder what those funds are being used for. There's so many angles to the security.
Yeah, but
thing,
talking about security, really, if you take like a means of livelihood out for some set of people and you don't give them an immediate because I honestly haven't seen the immediate replacement for what it is that there are a large chunk of people in Lagos
Can
State.
I quickly counter that? I'm glad that you did this because I want us to breathe through the other stories and we only have 10 minutes to do that. Lagos State passed a law against the operation of these same bikes on major roads and certain trunk B roads too. The previous governor, before this governor, relaxed that law for whatever reason, but the law was in existence. The period that this governor decided to enforce it, people were shouting. I said, I'm not bringing in a new law. This was passed even before the governor before this one. And people, there was a lot of hue and cry. Now, sadly, some companies had already created their own bike hailing services. And, they're pumping a lot of funds. There are like 4 major companies in Lagos.
Which I don't think that was a smart move.
Everybody said this is that. What has happened? Nothing. Hell, crime will be on the increase. Dispatch riders and blah, blah, blah have increased. You understand?
Yeah.
But none of those people that were stopped from operating the highways have been arrested and said they were thieves or whatever, or was crime on the increase in Lagos. No, it wasn't. Do you get what I'm saying? So again, at times we're quickly going to latch on to sentiments, but we need to weigh. It's governance. You need to weigh and say, which one am I willing to face, and tackle? That's my opinion.
Anyway, we'll definitely see how this is going to pan out in Lagos State. Moving on quickly from that, ahead of the 2023 elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission has now disclosed that from September 20th is going to be when the final list of presidential candidates will be out, and then October 4th for governorship candidates. So what they're saying in essence is that whatever anybody wants to do
it now.
Do it
All the placeholders and key holders and whatever holders
that you're dealing with. We know that there's still some parties in some states that still have issues here and there. So what they're saying is that the final list that is going to be out on this particular date is
what's the date again?
September 20 for presidential candidates and October 4th for governorship candidates. That is going to be the final list going to.
Why can't they just do it one day, September or October? Like, why the staggered way of processing these things? At times I don't understand, but I'm sure they have their reasons.
I'm sure they have their reasons. Still talking about just governance and all that. There's this common story that happens almost every month, and it is between the federal government and Governor Ortom of Benue State, where Governor Ortom has something to say every single time. This time, he said that he got intelligence that the federal government, that the president said that bandits should not be killed.
A top military man told him, the governor of Benue.
Yeah, that it shouldn't be killed. I don't know about anybody else, but for the past 1-2 weeks, there have been pictures and videos of a lot of onslaught going on in the northeast.
In different sectors, yeah.
Northeast, in the northwest.
Not central.
Not central, a lot of it. So I'm like, okay, what's happening? And then I see that the presidency had released a statement saying that he should bring out his evidence, who's his source. If he doesn't have a source, he should keep quiet. And then he has now replied again to say that he's speaking on behalf of Nigerians. So,
you know,
I didn't give him a mandate.
exactly. What I see with Governor Ortom is that he succeeded in shifting, the goalpost. You said that a military guy said something to you that the president said they should not attack these people. The facts on ground speak otherwise to that matter. All you have to do was prove it. Don't even reveal your source. Even go further and reveal another story that the guy told you. Now you say you are speaking. So is that military man the Nigerians that made you say what you said? According to some people on Twitter, they said that it's at the end of the month every time that the governor has some diversionary tactics. It's Twitter people that said it. You can't.
My question to that is that
they said when it's time for salary, that
we need to really look for someone that lives in Benue and someone maybe like a civil servant. Is it that he doesn't pay salaries?
Well, I don't know. We'll find out. It's our job to find out. We can even send you. We'll send you. You go and do the investigation.
I'm not.
You're not the one that wants to find out.
I'm just asking anyway. Also, this morning, news broke that the Ogun State House of Assembly Speaker had been arrested. They said invited has been arrested, bundled out.
They didn't even say anything. It's one source again.
He was bundled.
Carried.
He wanted to japa. Yeah.
So this is my take on that. The story is that the Speaker of Ogun State was arrested or invited at the Lagos airport.
They don't invite you. They don't come and carry you at the airport if you invite.
Escorted.
Okay, it was escorted. Escorted.
But my take is that apparently we must have a no-fly list. The way they have it in saner crimes that we say in quote.
It's not the first time people are actually being arrested at airports.
That's my point. Yeah. That these guys must have a no-fly list because it is on record that they had invited him several times to come and he didn't go. So where did they pick him up from? The airport. Do you understand? There is a no-fly list.
But couldn't they have him? He's the Speaker of the House of Assembly. I'm sure he has an official residence. I'm sure. Do you understand? Why not? Why at the airport?
Why not at the airport?
Well,
why not?
I mean, so people always take the issue of invitation as
arrests.
Don't go there.
If they hold you,
there you go there. But your first time invitation might be a very good opportunity to either say your side of the story, and if they are being funny, be the first
to come
go
out
to court
Yeah.
and shield yourself, But again, if you have a case to answer, come on.
Go.
Don't-
Speaker of a house, I think
You
it's
know,
very embarrassing.
It is. We have governors in the past who were sworn in as men. They attempted to cross the borders as women. And we have some of those things. I think people should be, if they're able to do the good times, they should be able to also face the bad times.
Yeah, I agree with you. Quickly before we go, Emirates Airline has now announced the reinstatement of its flight operations to Lagos State starting from September 1st. They had suspended. They suspended the flight to Nigeria today. The suspension was supposed to start today, and this comes after a week when the CBN had now released $265 million to foreign airlines to settle outstanding ticket sales.
My biggest issue with anything that has to do with Dubai and Emirates is the idiocy and the stupidity of young Nigerian men who have gone to that country with their cultism, and they have now made it difficult
Criminals
for people under 30 to thank God we are old. At least on this particular one, I am happy to be old.
So people under 30.
Yeah, it's very
You can't even
difficult.
go anymore.
Just yesterday, there were videos of people that got to the UAE and they were prevented from leaving the airport. They were going to deport them back to Nigeria. It's a very serious story now.
So finally, we're having benefits to getting old.
you see this kind of thing. Now we can go to Dubai without this stuff.
It's a very very sad one.
Sad.
It's the same Dubai that I think Hush Puppy was arrested a few days ago. There was news of 4 Nigerians that were arrested by the FBI in Dubai as well. We see pictures and videos of people being violent in these places. You really can't blame them.
Talking about the action that Emirates took. You've invested, you're doing business, you can repatriate your funds. And within a week or two, CBN responded. Now, I represent a vast majority of manufacturers who their technical partners have brought in foreign direct investment into Nigeria. They have Nigerian shareholders. Year in, year out. We're not even talking about supply contracts. Because when you have raw materials, you must forward purchase them to get an economies of scale that will save you money. You do all of that, you can't pay them. They are foreign vendors, you need to pay them in forex. This affects the supply chain. This affects the
So productivity will drop.
end consumers'
output
value.
will drop. Then prices will go up.
Now, some of them have legitimate costs,
To repatriate
either through
funds.
their firms to repatriate funds. Year on year, CBN, you have not listened to them. They've engaged at different forums, either through Manufacturers Association. That's a critical sector. Deaf ears. And then you release $200 million.
In less than a week.
265.
In less than a week.
Come on. So I should be saying to the manufacturers, you need to do something as well
That will support them.
that would spur them to also come to action. That means the funds are there.
They're
actually.
there. They just don't want to. It's a very very funny thing, but we'll see how that goes. But on that note, that is all we able to take today on the Boomba. We're supposed to talk about football transfer window, but of course by tomorrow, I'm sure that obviously it would have closed, so we can have like a full scale on what went, who went, or who did not go. Anyway, on that note, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, thank you for the comments. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time on boomradio.com.ng. Have a beautiful day ahead.